Hi everybody. Um, this video is about my recent through hike of the IAT. I wanted to kind of go over it in case people didn't see all the videos. This is kind of a prognosis, if you will, of how it went. It started off really slow. It really did. If I had to describe my experience, I was a bit overwhelmed by some of the things that were going on at the time. I knew it was late in the season, and I knew that my time was limited. But at the same time, I thought, I gave myself 6 or 7 weeks. I had been out of the hiking. I had been out of the hiking scene for a while, and being somebody who's a little more aged, refined. Is that a good word? I don't know. I felt like I was going to be slow out of the gate. And I was. I really was. I mean, the first few days, I think I probably did maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 kilometers a day. And I did that on purpose. There was a reason for that. I knew that I needed to work up to it. I knew that I needed to let my body dictate what I could do, what I was capable of. I want to go on. I'm going on the AT next February, and I had done some multi-day hikes during the summer, and in preparation for all of this. So I knew it was coming. I knew what was going on. I was quite well prepared, I thought, because I had bought some pretty good gear. I was in pretty good shape. My base weight was 10 pounds, and it could have been lower. I had a almost 3 pound pack and stuff like that. So I felt like I was in good shape. I was hiking. I was going to be camping nights on mostly platforms. So this is why I brought the tent I brought. I did a video already on my loadout for the trip prior, because I did stay in Edmondson before I left for the trail. That gear stayed pretty much the same through the whole trip. I did not really add anything to it. I did add some video equipment, which really was insignificant as far as weight was concerned. So all of those things I took care of. I did send out boxes, but I misjudged a couple of the boxes. In other words, there were a couple of boxes that I picked up that I had to stay in that post office and repackage those boxes so that I could send them farther down the trail. It turns out I ended up supplying myself with way more food than I needed. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Not way more, but a few days extra that I really needed. Also, I took advantage of towns when I could get to them. So the first, I would say, here's the thing about this trail. And I was northbound, by the way, just so you know. So I started at Matapedia and went out to Cap Gaspé. It was 642 kilometers, something like that. And I would say in the first 2 weeks, I didn't do any more than maybe 150. But that was okay. I wasn't discouraged by it, but I was in awe of the scenery that I was seeing. It was quite incredible. I have to say, this was, and I mean, I never hiked this trail before. When I was younger, I used to hike a lot, but because I lived down in Toronto, it was, you know, Bruce Trail, Cabot Trail, which, by the way, I want to go back to Bruce Trail, but that's another video. But at any rate, my idea of the trip was, at the beginning it was tough. It was very tough. I was sore. I had blisters. I had to go through a curve of doing things and getting back into a routine. You know, 20 years ago when I hiked, gear wasn't the same as it is now. I'm kind of blown away actually by what's available right now, which is great. I learned a lot. I bought some new stuff. I'm ready to go again. But back to Quebec. Quebec is a gold mine. I really, again, I have to strongly urge the people that I know from the U.S. and so on that I've met to come up here and really experience this for yourself. I believe that you will be impressed, and I believe you'll come away happy. Now for, you know, instead of being such a big fangirl, there were a couple of things that bothered me about it. It wasn't really well marked, especially Gaspésie was good, Matane wasn't bad, Matapedia sucked. I got lost a few times on trail. I lost a trail. I mean, if the trail's not well trodden, if it's waist high and it looks like bushwhacking, and you can't even find a blaze to save your life, and you're doing like 3 or 4 kilometers before you see a blaze. There were times I got lost. There were times I was out there bushwhacking, trying to find my way around. And it became a little discouraging at times. That being said, this is a new trail. This is not like the AT down in the States. This hasn't been around for 80 years. It doesn't have all the support. It doesn't have all of the people going crazy trying to develop it, you know. So that being said, I just kept going forward, and it really got my stride after a little while. And I'm not talking about the specifics of it. I mean, you know that. All the videos are there. You've seen my play-by-play as I went through it. But what I really did like about it was that the solitude, was the how sparse it was. Because it's not a real popular trail, there weren't a lot of people that I saw there. The ones that I did see and meet were very special. They were amazing. I hope to have lasting friendships with them. We went through a hurricane. We survived a hurricane. That was pretty cool. You know, I got to see lots of wildlife, lots of great views, a lot of mountains, a lot of elevation, good weather, well, mostly good weather. It got a little cold at the end. I had to do some dodging, which, you know, honestly, I'm going to say to you, if you want to do the SIA in Quebec, I suggest you do it so that you finish prior to mid-September. The reason being is there are hunting seasons. There's all kinds of things where you're not allowed to be where you're supposed to be. The other thing I would suggest to you is rather than try to create an itinerary, and I think all of you people that hike in the States get this. You know, when you go to the shanties or you know, different parks, You have to abide by their rules. You have to do the reservations and so on. The SIA offers you something called a passport. As of the time I purchased it, it was about $400 with taxes. And what that allowed me to do was to go through the whole trail and use the shelters, the refuges. What's the plural of refuge? Refugee? No, I guess not, eh? Anyway, it allowed me to just move freely through the different sections. That being said, again, though, is there were some areas that didn't abide by or honor those permits. And so I would have to double pay and triple pay on some of these things. Bon Ami campsite, for example, you know. And in that same vein, CPAC, although I've heard many things about them, they were great. They were great with me. When I came off Mont Jacques Cartier, I stayed in a campground there. I stayed in a campground near Mount Logan, and CPAC was great. I showed them my passport, and they were great. They gave me a campsite, no worries. In fact, they had campsites specifically reserved for hikers, which was great. I met some trail angels while I was out. I showed them in the videos. Hats off to them, amazing people. I keep in touch with them now. It was you know what? It was a good trip for not being on trail for like probably 20 years. And a lot of that trail was biking trails because I used to be a cyclist back in the day. It was a good reintroduction to the whole life. So now what's next? Well, my immediate future right now is Algonquin, but it's a big one. It's a big one in Algonquin this next week. It's going to be in 2 sections. I leave October 2nd. October 2nd for the eastern part of Algonquin. It's going to be a relatively short trip because the loop that's there isn't that big. I think it's maybe 50-60K, and it's not terribly elevated. There's not a lot of stuff going on there. I could stretch it out maybe 3 days. I don't know. I'll try. I'll see. But then I either come back and pick up. I have a package coming from ZPACs, and they've been very slow in sending it. I've been talking to them. They're at least a couple weeks behind on their deliveries and their times. And that's fine. That happens. They're getting popular. That's great. So I have some gear coming from them that I intend to take out in the field and test. So I might come back after those few days in the eastern part of Algonquin. I might come back for a day if I know the stuff is here. I'll come back, I'll grab it. It's a 3-hour drive. I'll drive back another 4 hours to go to the west side of Algonquin, where I get to tackle a trail that I did try earlier this summer, which was the Western Uplands Trail. Only this time, I want to do the whole thing. I want to do, I think it's 96 kilometers or something. What's that, 65 miles? It's not huge. It's not great. But I think if I spread it out, and it, by the way, it's really, really tough. I mean, it makes Matan Reserve in Quebec look like a walk through the park. Some of Algonquin's trails are very tough. So you're not going to put big miles on. You're not going to be doing 30, 40. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. If you do 10 or 12 a day. That's probably good enough. That's a good 8 hours. Seriously, I mean, I know you're probably laughing right now. And yes, I'm not a spring chicken, so yes, you know, I'm not going to do what the kids do anyway. I'm sorry, that's a fact. And I just say kids because they're less than half my age. The ones that are, you know, doing 30 and 40. So anyways, that being said, I don't want to knock anybody because, you know, I'd love to do 30 or 40, but I still want to see it. I want to experience it. So anyway, that's my immediate plan. That'll take care of October. That gives me November and December and January. I'll do a couple of winter trips. Probably either wild camping, like stealth camping, or like on Crown Land, or I might go back to Algonquin. And then the big one, February, you know, get out on the AT, go to Georgia, Springer Mountain, do the whole thing. By then I'll have my gear all shaken down and ready to go. And yeah, so that's what's in the future. I already told you what happened in Quebec. Quebec was amazing. I will do Quebec again, probably. I still have to do New Brunswick. When I next year finish the USAT, I'm going to just continue on after Mount Katahdin. I'm going to go and finish off the entire New Brunswick section. Since I'm Canadian, that'll finish me in Matapedia, and that's only maybe 10 or 12 hours from home. I live in Gatineau in Quebec, right near the border of Ottawa. So that's it. It was a great trip. It was. I suggest anybody to go and hike Quebec. Just please do it either after May 15th and not after September 15th. You're going to have issues if you try to hike outside of that window. You've got hunting seasons, you've got in the spring a massive thaw. The trails, some of the trails will just be impassable. You just won't be able to do them. So that's my suggestion to you. And the other suggestion is absolutely get a passport. Get a passport. Pay the money. Support the AT. And yeah, I mean it's just something you should do, really. If you're into hiking and you want to support it, you want to see it grow. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I will next week probably be off the grid for a while, so I won't upload anything right away. But as soon as I do get some stuff next week, I'll send that along to you. I've got some new video equipment. Picked up a new drone. I'm going to play around with that. Bear with me. The first half dozen videos might be a little choppy, but yeah, we'll see if we can get you some nice. I know there's some great spots in Algonquin to see, and the leaves are all changing. There's beautiful reds and yellows and oranges, and the temperatures will be a bit cooler. So it'll be great for hiking. It'll just be, and it's solo. I'll be doing it solo. So I'm probably going to take the Lanshan out with me for the first few days, and then probably come back and pick up some other gear and go that way. I'll do some gear reviews on the stuff I have and the stuff I'm getting, and I'll give you probably what I want to do for loadout for February, which is what I'm really focusing on. Anyways, talk soon. See you later.